From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
American Door Company has been family-owned and operated for over 29 years, supplying Northern California with quality garage doors, garage door openers, and installed with the best service you'd expect from a locally owned company. We serve all of Northern California from Willows all the way up to the Oregon state line. Give us a call today.
Well, happy Wednesday morning to you. You know, it's a short work week for some of us and maybe not even a work week for others. But I know I had Monday off, Christmas Day, and yeah, it certainly feels like the week is going by a little bit faster. Now, we didn't really see any rain yesterday. In fact, it was a very nice day for many of us. But today, we've got an approaching storm. Now, it's going to do a few things. Number one, of course, it's going to bring us some wet weather. But the winds, that's something we've got to watch here very closely. We're beginning to see the winds pick up in advance of the storm system, but I do expect some gusty winds, especially for the coast, the exposed mountain ridges, and into the northern mountains, so northern Shasta County, parts of Siskiyou, Modoc County, even the valley could see some, we'll call it breezy conditions here today, but I think the strongest winds will be really reserved for the higher ridge tops along the coast, and not to mention Shasta Valley and central Siskiyou County. We'll get into that here in a second, and there, of course, is the high snow levels. We'll see with this system. So let's again talk about these winds. We do have a wind advisory basically for today for the areas in blue here. These lighter colors here is where we have a high wind warning. Bottom line, this is again where we expect to see some very strong gusty winds. And you can see as we take you into the noon hour, we're still seeing a lot of the reds and yellows indicating 30, 40, even upwards of 50 miles per hour. But again, over some of the mountain ridges, we're talking 60, close to 70 miles per hour. Now look at the winds out over the ocean. This is where we are seeing a storm warning here. So just not a good idea to be out on the water today because those wave heights are going to be increasing today and into tonight. But there you can see the winds along the coast, 20 over 30 miles per hour. These are just sustained winds. So this is not taking into account some of the gusts that we will see out there. Again, you can see in the Shasta Valley where we're seeing those gusty winds there. But again, see where we're seeing over the exposed mountain ridges, even in the eastern mountains, in Modoc County, Lass and Plumas counties, we're seeing some of those gusty winds. And even just east of the valley in the foothills. Again, that's noon today. Now, you'll notice a trend downward with these winds taking you into the afternoon and into the evening, but still gusty in some spots, especially out towards Crescent City and, of course, even along Shasta Valley. Now, as we go into your Thursday, the wind should start to die down, but it looks like with Friday's approaching system, we could see those winds pick up again in some areas. Not as bad as what we're seeing now, but you see again all this red here indicating some very gusty winds on the ocean, and of course along the coast, seeing some gusty winds there, and some of those exposed mountain ridges, once again, we're seeing some gusty winds. So Friday is another day we'll have to watch, but as I mentioned, probably kind of in the grand scheme of things, doesn't look to be quite as intense as what we're going to see here for today. Now for the valley, for today, there you can see, of course, the overcast skies. Showers will be on the increase through the morning. Same situation for Siskiyou and Modoc County. Now what you'll notice in the eastern mountains is we're actually seeing a lot more breaks in the clouds there. We'll call it mostly cloudy for the first half of the day, but I'm expecting through the afternoon at least that we will start to see some of that shower activity for the eastern mountains. How about the north coast? Well, there you of course can see the showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm this morning and afternoon, but mainly just in the form of some periods of moderate to heavy rainfall. Inland showers, and not to mention into Trinity County as well. We'll get into those snow levels here in just a second. But here's one of the reasons why we are seeing some gusty winds. We've got a tightly wound area of low pressure. This creates what we call a higher pressure gradient, and that's what's going to be giving us those gusty winds. You can see in advance of that, we're getting some of that moisture kind of wrapping around and up into it, and that's what's going to give us the warmer air, the warmer moisture that's coming in, which is why we do expect some of those higher snow levels. This is the system coming in today. You'll notice behind it another one. That's what's going to be coming in here for your Friday into Saturday. So let's take a look at the timing of all this, and there you can see through the morning into the noon hour, we're still seeing a lot of that rain. Now, what you'll notice here, it's fairly organized this morning for the north coast, but as it moves eastward, not as organized. But we still could be looking at some brief periods of moderate to heavy rainfall for everyone. So you can see by noon, remember you saw on the planner here that it was still partly to mostly cloudy for the eastern mountains and even into Modoc County. That's because for the most part, most of the rain hasn't really moved in just yet. But through the afternoon, it pushes eastward and we're seeing that rain. We're also seeing that snow, mainly above 6,000 feet. But you can see by 5 p.m. today, it's really beginning to taper off. And as we go into Thursday morning, minus a few light showers here and there, Thursday is not going to be a very active day. So I'm going to call for mostly cloudy on your Thursday. Could see a passing sprinkle or light shower for everyone, but Thursday's rain, if you will, is just not going to be all that significant. Then you can see by Thursday evening, still seeing again a slight chance for a few showers here and there. But the main event for Friday will be here Friday evening. So there you can see Friday at 5 p.m. You see how you have that band of rain? It'll probably break apart before hitting the valley, but still bringing some decent rain, especially coming into Friday night and into your Saturday. So forecast rainfall totals, once again, I'm just not buying the fact that we're picking upwards of an inch in some areas for the valley. But, we'll call it between a half an inch to an inch, I think, in the valley. And then not to mention some of the higher elevations. And as I mentioned earlier, even yesterday and a few days ago, there are going to be a couple of pockets in a few areas that may see some heavier rainfall, especially if you get caught under kind of a longer period of some of that heavy rain that we could be looking at here. And really the same situation for the coast, about a half an inch to maybe over an inch. Also, need to mention that there is a winter weather advisory for northern Trinity County from 7 o'clock this morning until 7 p.m. Snow will mainly be above 5,000 feet. And, we could be looking at, as you go above 5,000 feet, upwards of 3 to 6 inches of snow. So if you are going to be traveling on Highway 3, say over Scott Mountain, you might run into some chain requirements later this morning and afternoon. Forecast snow totals, you can see it's, again, the higher mountain ridges, Lassen Peak, the mountain of Mount Shasta, some of the Trinity Alps. And I want to show you some of the road conditions out here on Highway 3. Scott Mountain's right about here, right, on Highway 3. There's a Highway 3 right there going into Scott Valley. There's Etna. All right, so there you can see by noon, we're kind of seeing this pink and the red indicating a bit of ice kind of getting into that rain-snow mix. So keep in mind that the elevation of Scott Mountain Pass on Highway 3 is about 5,400 feet. So we're kind of in that borderline of where that rain and snow is going to be transitioning. So you can kind of see that right here. We're seeing some of that snow trying to make its way in later this afternoon and into the evening. And it looks like even as we go into Thursday morning, there may be some leftover activity bringing us some more rain and some snow. So again, keep in mind on Highway 3, you may run into some chain requirements here later on today and even into your Thursday morning. Let's take a look at the long-range forecast. There it is, Friday evening into Saturday, some of that rain continuing to move on through with the next storm system. This one, about the same as far as the overall impact. The snow level is still high, still not a ton of rainfall coming out of it. And then there you can see the next system here. Now this one, as we go into the weekend, is mainly going to stay to our south. So you can see the amount of rain that we're going to see over the weekend, just not looking all that impressive. In fact, I don't expect really much in the way of rain here over the weekend. And even for your New Year's Day, there's Monday. It looks to be dry. In fact, maybe even some clear skies. But we do have some more activity coming in from the west. And that'll probably be here by the middle of next week, giving us another round of some rain. And at this point, it's beginning to look like snow levels may be a little bit lower on Wednesday. For now, I'm going to include snow levels down to as low, maybe, just maybe, as 3,000 feet by next Wednesday. And then you can see as we get toward the end of next week, drying things out again, maybe another system, a weak one, coming in. So look at the precipitation outlook for really the first week of January, really looking at normal to just slightly above normal rainfall for our area. And that's going to keep that temperature outlook above normal as well, but just barely. So it's not like we're looking at a heat wave by any stretch of the imagination, but once again, helping to really support some of those higher snow levels. There still is a coastal flood advisory until until noon today for pretty much the coast in Del Norte, and not to mention as you head into central Humboldt County as well. Still looking at that high surf warning, but that won't take effect until tomorrow morning through tomorrow afternoon. Just not a good idea to be on the beach here today or tomorrow. Look at the wave heights, especially as we go into tonight. We're seeing wave heights almost over 30 feet. And even along the coast here, you're seeing a lot of those yellows indicating upwards of 10 feet. This is not a good time to be on the beach here because it's getting dangerous with those high waves and those big waves heading out to the ocean here, or on the coast that is. And there you can see 5 p.m. on Thursday. Looks like those wave heights will begin to be on the downward trend. So your marine forecast for today, south winds at 20 to 30 knots. Waves from the southwest at 17 feet at 11 seconds. That's your high and low tide today. And there's that gale warning through at least the noon hour, if not a little bit longer. Here's what we have with your forecast for today. Mainly overcast skies from valley westward. We're going to see the clouds on the increase for the eastern mountains. Chances for rain will increase basically from west to east throughout the morning and into the afternoon. Your 7-day outlook is still calling, of course, a chance for off and on rain. Now, Thursday, I've just got the mostly cloudy skies, but don't be surprised if you see a passing sprinkle or a light shower off and on throughout the day on Thursday. But most of it's going to be today, Friday evening in particular, into Saturday. Mainly dry on Sunday, should be dry for your New Year's Day, and not to mention Tuesday of next week. Looking at your 7-day outlook for the valley, I've included that chance in there because, again, as we go into tomorrow, there is going to be a chance for a passing sprinkle or a light shower, but nothing to write home about. Especially Friday evening into Saturday. Sunday looks dry. New Year's Day looks dry, not to mention your Tuesday of next week. But temperatures really not warming up a whole lot. Looks like mainly in the mid to upper 50s for your daytime highs in the valley. Your 7-day outlook for the North Coast. Windy. Of course, we talked about those winds and just how strong they are going to be here. That's the case here for today, but the wind should subside as we take you into your evening and into your Thursday. Thursday, fairly dry, maybe a few showers, especially up towards Trinity County. More showers as we take you into Friday, Saturday. Should be dry for the most part, though, by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.